The Shaun of the South podcast starts now. Well, I thought it was only fitting to start this podcast with me playing my fiddle for you, because this month, on November 28th, marks the 99th anniversary of a very famous American institution. This institution began under the name of the WSM Barn Dance, a radio show that was launched by a man named George D. Hay, and his first guest on this radio show was a 77-year-old fiddle player named Uncle Jimmy Thompson, and all that man did was play fiddle tunes, exactly like the one I played you. In fact, he probably played that exact fiddle tune, which was a well-known tune at the time, called Georgia Horseshoe. The show was broadcast from the 5th floor of the National Life and Accident Insurance Company, downtown Nashville, and it outgrew its tiny studio and went to a larger space, including Studio B and C, in that building. And in 1941, the show became a live stage show at the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville. The Ryman, which used to be a church, of all things, a place where revivals took place and people spoke in tongues. And now it's a place where people sing songs about drinking and cheating. My Deepwater Baptist mother would love that. Of course, the reason I am doing this, an Opry podcast, is because tonight, when you're hearing this, I will be playing on the Grand Ole Opry on Nashville's 650 AM WSM, which you can also hear online at opry.com or WSMonline.com. And I hope you tune in, because this will be my 5th appearance on the Grand Ole Opry, and being on the Grand Ole Opry is an experience that I think it's safe to say changed my life. And so I'm going to read you a few essays about what I wrote about my experiences at the Grand Ole Opry. I'm driving. The Tennessee mountains tower in the distance, and the hills are so green they appear blue. The sky is so sunny it hurts your eyes, and I'm listening to WSM 650 AM, traveling 55 on back roads. They're playing old country today. Whispering Bill Anderson is singing "The Lord Knows I'm Drinking," and my father loved this tune. Last night I sang on the Grand Ole Opry, and before my performance, 85-year-old Bill Anderson performed. He was exiting the stage as I was entering, and before they announced me, I shook his hand, and I was quivering all over. I told him I grew up listening to his music alongside my father, and I almost started to cry when I said it. He looked at me and said, "Thank you, son. Is your daddy here tonight?" I looked into the rafters of the old theater. I said, "Yes, sir. I'd like to believe he is." Bill just smiled at me. Right now I'm thinking about all this while driving on this winding highway. I'm winding through thickets of black gums, live oaks, sycamores, and conflagrations of other Tennessean trees. Tennessee trees don't grow the same as they do in other states. These trees don't just grow straight up and down. They grow sideways, downways, upways, rightways, wrongways, and every which ways. They swallow everything, growing so close together they resemble a giant head of broccoli. I see a barbecue shack / beer joint in the distance, and I pull over. The door dings upon my entrance. A radio is playing. It's not yet noon, but there's an old man at the bar, getting a start on his day. An army of empty Budweiser bottles sits at his elbow. He's playing scratch-offs, trying his level best to make Cooter Brown look like an amateur. His words are rounded at the corners when he speaks. "Where are you from?" he asks. "Alabama," I said. He nods and goes back to the scratch-offs. "What brings you here?" "Work," I say. "Oh, what kind of work you do?" "Well, I play music, actually. I tell stories." "Are you a guitar player?" "No, sir, not really. I'm a guitar owner." I ordered a barbecue sandwich, and the waitress asks if I want a beer. But it's too early for me, so I go with sweet tea. The tea is immobilizingly cold on a summer day and sweet enough to break your jaw. "Where'd you play last night?" the old man asks. And I smile. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you, sir." "Try me." "I played the Grand Ole Opry." The old man thinks about this for a second, and then he laughs. He leans over and I can smell his breath. You wouldn't want to light a match within 12 feet of this man. "Nice try," he says, son, wagging his finger at me. "But you can't bull expletive a bull expletiver." But it's not bull. It's real. Last night actually happened. Last night I stood upon the same floorboards where Hank and Loretta and Johnny and George and Porter and Ernest and Dolly once stood. And when I finished singing, Whispering Bill Anderson was waiting for me in the wings, and when I saw him, you could have knocked me over with a guitar pick. I could not believe Mr. Bill Anderson was waiting for me. He'd watched my entire performance. Whispering Bill Anderson, Whispering freaking Bill Anderson watched me perform. He could have retreated backstage to his dressing room after his performance. He could have removed his shiny red blazer and white patent leather shoes. He could have changed into his civvies and gone home. He could have acted like the big-time star that he is. But he didn't. The wizened Opry performer stayed to exchange words with a young, red-headed guitar owner. When I walked off stage, Bill Anderson was waiting for me, a wide smile on his face, and in his frail hand he took mine. He squeezed slightly, and he said 4 words. "You did it, son." And I wept, of course, because it's been a long time since anyone called me that. If you're listening to this, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for reading any of my work. Thank you for caring anything about me. And if you have a few extra minutes tonight, tune into the Grand Ole Opry, because I'll be playing there tonight. My God, I'll be playing at the Grand Ole Opry. Have a great day.